So how many of you, just to check, were in this session? Oh, that's great, only one. Ha ha. It's not gonna feel like a repeat. But you'll be surprised, many, many, many years ago when we used to have conferences live, we actually had a session for Brand You in 2017. And there was such great reception from everyone that came, and a lot of people followed up. We get flooded with emails, and we said, you know what? It's time to do Brand You 2.0. Why not? The world has changed, things are evolving, as we all know, and there's a lot that we need to kind of learn and evolve as business owners, as chamber leaders, as corporate leaders, because the world has changed a lot. All right, my friend, it's not working, the clicker. And that's, let's see, do you guys, okay, it's working now. So we're gonna do our first tech experiment for the day. Please pull out your phones, because we're gonna use this 3 times at least during the session, because I wanna feel like we have a two-way dialogue as we do this. By the way, can you hear me if I take this? Hello, 1, 2, 3, handheld, yes? Do I need that handheld? We're loud enough anyway, right? It comes with the territory. Can you guys hear me back there? See? Okay, I see heads nodding. Okay, I wanna make sure this is on or not. Is it on? No, it's not. My gosh, you know, we have all these excuses with Zoom. Doesn't work. I'm muted, whatever, but we're live now. This is supposed to be working. Let's give our friend Kiera a hand. It's okay. Thank you. He's like, I got the crazy speaker today. All right, is it working? Not yet. All right. Well, in the meantime, how about you go to menti.com. You can do it on your phones, please. Pretty please. Because this is a really cool tool, by the way. They should pay me royalties for promoting them. I have nothing to do with Menti, but I love it. Because you can go in there and do like a live poll. So, oh, we're on. Thank you. All right. So we're going to use that code when you go into menti.com on your phone. So pull that out. And let's put the screen where we see everybody's answers happening live. You should be able to pull it up. And I want to know, what are you expecting out of this session so that I can get it right for you and your expectations. Ah, look at you. How cool. Knowledge, inspiration, ideas, intel, opportunity. Keep them coming. Oh, there you go. Okay, great. Knowledge. So I'll do my best to do that. Knowledge and inspiration seems to be the theme. And yes, ma'am. The code is up there, 29284222. You can see it up there. And by the way, keep it open, because then you don't have to type it ever again, then we'll flip the questions. All right. Well, 20, 30 of you figured it out. Good job. Excellent. Okay, so it is clear. Knowledge, inspiration, and ideas. The agenda has been set. Thank you. All right, let's get back to the slides. So when you read the title of this session, it's called Brand You 2.0, because we had our Brand You 1.0 in 2017, so we had to brand it as an evolution of the last session. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. And as any good branding, right, it needs to start with understanding why it even matters for us to be good at telling stories with our brands, or what we say, what we stand for, right? And your why matters because there's plenty of evidence all over that says that great leaders need to be great storytellers. And that is because the work of a leader is to influence, whether you are leading your team, your community, your chamber, your corporate department, you are influencing, and you don't get to influence people with information. Even though you may feel really good and smart when you pull up the PowerPoint full of numbers, however, it is proven over and over again that the way to influence people to act and remember comes with something bigger than data and the PowerPoint and the information, and that is where storytelling comes into play. Now, like it or not, you're in a position of authority somewhere, even with your family and kids, and being a good storyteller will get their attention. I bet all of us have one of those tíos or abuelas that is an expert in telling stories. And doesn't everybody stop just like, oh, la historia otra vez? And sometimes they tell it like 10 times, but it's still good. Now, here is a way to codify how to tell stories and connect with people. And I've labeled it the marketing macarena. Because 3 steps, easy, us, kids of the 80s, I want to cheer on and still believe that I'm young. But this is how it goes. No matter what you're selling or what you do or what title you carry, the path to getting to people to remember who you are and what you do and why you matter starts by getting to the heart first, then the mind, and then the wallet. Heart, mind, wallet. You got to do it. Right hand up, heart, mind, wallet. See, it's kind of like a macarena. I told you it was like a dance move. Now you know, next time you're checking that PowerPoint or that presentation you're doing, check yourself and see if you're going through the heart first, which is where you understand people's needs and you really humanize what is it that you mean in people's lives. Then you get to the mind. Okay, my product is better than theirs, it has better features, it's faster, cheaper, better quality, yada yada. But many times we jump to the head too quickly, and then you get to the wallet, in that order. Now there's this guy who I adore, maybe you guys know who he is, and I had the chance to have a long chat with Simon, and I was like, dude, your golden circle is my marketing macarena, señor. And he agreed, and we talked about it, and sure enough, maybe you've seen a very, very successful TED Talk. Homework for you all, write it down. I've watched it at least, I'm not exaggerating, 100 times. And I've made everyone in my team and all of my clients and everyone I can, like he should be paying me also royalties for promoting him so much, because it's this premise that you gotta lead your storytelling from the inside out. You get to the heart, understanding why you even exist. Then you get to the mind, knowing how is it that you do what you do in a very special and unique way. And then you get to the wallets where you have your offer or your unique, value proposition, et cetera, et cetera. That's what you sell. That's what you do. Because people don't buy what you do, but why you do what you do. I'm going to pick on my friends from Nationwide for a second. Imagine if I sit next to Lori and we're flying, because we're flying again, and she's sitting next to me. It's like, hey, so what do you do? Oh, I sell insurance. I'm sorry, Lori, but that's not that exciting. I mean, you all know Nationwide sponsored this, right? But hear me out. This is where it goes. That is when you jump into the what you do so quickly, it just creates a really big yawn on the person next to you. But if all of a sudden I get to understand, and I'm totally making this story up, the Lori, imaginary Lori next to me, that is actually telling me, listen, when I was 8, I lost my dad. And I lost my dad, and my mom was left with 3 little kids, including me. And I watched her work really hard and really make something of herself for us. And we went to school, and the struggle was so, so hard. I never, ever want to see any other family go through that. And that is why I sell peace of mind to families around the country. And that's very different. Because if you just sell insurance, it's not that exciting. But you're selling peace of mind. And that's fundamentally different. You see, Apple is a master at this. They don't sell computers, devices, phones, whatever. They have codified this in a very particular way. I'm just going to build it up where it says that they believe in challenging the status quo. They're in the business of thinking differently. Now, how they do it better than anybody else is by making things easy to use and beautifully designed. And then, oh, by the way, yeah, we sell computers, devices. Now they sell everything. TVs, monitors, you name it. But if they just show up selling devices, that's kind of boring. But they're in the business of thinking differently and make them always beautifully designed and easy to use. So there you go. You are a promise to others. And so many times we get caught up with the tactics of what we do that we forget the story behind why you started to begin with. And there's so much richness in this story. Don't forget, the story gets to the heart. And that will transcend any kind of power, facts, and figures and information we'll ever have. However, a good story without the backing up of the numbers then just becomes a dream pie in the sky. So you gotta have both. Okay, get to the heart, but it has to be smart, backed it up. Okay, so let me tell you about my story. Some of you have probably seen this. If you saw the TED Talk, you heard this. I'm so excited. We did it in May, and shameless plug is called Diversity is Overrated. You gotta go watch it before you judge it. All right, so I'm originally from Colombia, and here's how my story got me to the business that I'm in now. Then I ended up in the great state of Texas when I landed with my suitcase, woohoo, and a student visa in my hand without speaking English. Now, what happens in Texas when you speak Spanish? Where are you supposed to be from? Everybody was like, are you Mexican? And I'm like, okay, why am I supposed to be Mexican? And then, well, again, I was 17, I didn't know anything. And then it was like, wait, no, I'm Colombian. And of course, I would get Pablo. I'm like, really, these people? Now, full disclosure, because I'm that old, it was the early 90s, and Pablo was alive and well and doing his thing in Colombia. And I'm like, no. And the young Colombians now have it so much easier because they can call on Shakira or Coffee or James. You know, I didn't have, Shakira was with black hair singing Pies Descalzos in Colombia. I did not, you get to be cool Colombian now. I'm picking on one here. Anyhow, so there you go. But these guys messed it up for us again. And I had my story straight, and now I'm explaining it again. Okay, guys, time out. Narcos was like Colombia 30 years ago, but please. But you see, unless you own your story, others will tell it for you. And it happens to our community too, and our businesses. So what is that story? What is it? Let's see. Here's one reality. There's a cultural gap, and I realized in telling my story to others, instead of throwing my pity party of like, why do they think Pablo is the only thing about Colombia? I'm like, let me educate them. And if you take that noble higher ground to tell your story and inquire, you realize there's so much power. Because there's a reason, and this is such an old stat, and it keeps getting bigger and better, that tortillas sell more than bread in America. Did you guys know that? And it's not because all the Mexicans are buying tortillas, it's everybody's buying tortillas. It's just a new mainstream, and the same thing is happening with salsa. It sells more than ketchup. And of all actresses in television around the world, the highest paid one is, ta-da, Sophia. In fact, the other three combined don't even add up to her $42 million a year. And she talks like this, and she wins $42 million. I mean, she's owning culture unapologetically. By the way, I mean, she doesn't speak that harsh anymore, and I have the great pleasure of knowing her since also she had blonde hair in Colombia, by the way. She's a natural blonde. Did you know that? Fun fact. She is, and they made her dye her hair dark because she had to look Latina. Anyway, funny people in Hollywood. Anyhow, so, but here's, it keeps going on and on. So we know the Despacito, sensation. I've heard it everywhere. I was in a little teeny town in Switzerland, I kid you not, and they played Despacito. I was like, what is going on? But last year, Bad Bunny became the most streamed artist of 2020. By the way, worldwide. By the way, he sings in Spanish. So why am I telling you this? This is part of my story, and I think all as Latinos can borrow little pieces of this. There is power when we understand the full context of what we represent into a nation, into an economy, into a market, into an industry, when you dare to get to the heart. And guess what? The latest census just corroborates it even more. There is no way this country will be achieving the growth that it needs in population without us. And I'll stand up against any economist, PhD, urban developer, whatever you are, but the numbers are now fresh and new, and we are the largest diverse segment and market in this country, driving more than half of all the growth. And when you look at the largest cities in America, we are almost the majority already. So do the homework, it's fun. Now, all of this is part of my story, and I want to own it. Why? Because I realize, you may be wondering, okay, where's Lili going with this thing? I realized as a young immigrant that then got curious about culture and realized, wait a second, this is like a superpower. There's a story here to be told if I choose to tell it. I could have let people still link me to Pablo and let it be, or take that opportunity to tell a meaningful story that gets to the heart. Because it is evident that these cultural gaps, when you pay attention and choose to take action, can turn into cultural economics. And we think it's a disadvantage. Oh, I have an accent. Well, Sofia makes $42 million with the accent. There's a lot of power with this. Now, that was my story, but what's yours? And we're going to get to that. My story then became going from corporate executive to turning entrepreneur, bringing the power of data, analytics, and culture into the world. But here's a fun thing. I started creating these little videos. This is before YouTube was cool and everybody had a makeup tutorial, like back in 2010. This was the very first video that I did. Oh my gosh, I look young. It was a long time ago. Then a producer, because people see me on TV now, they think I'm a journalist. I'm not. That totally happened by accident. A producer in New York saw me on YouTube and asked me, do you want to be on television? And I was like, no, that's a distraction for my business. And then I realized there's a lot of influence and power that I could exercise, another place to tell the story. But it wasn't because I was trying so hard to be picked by a network. It was the genuine telling of a story on YouTube that caught somebody's attention. So I can say I was discovered like Justin Bieber. Pretty cool. And I was talking to a friend earlier, Anita, raise your hand. So Anita, you should tell everyone what you told me. Is there a mic that we could use? Because there are pockets and places everywhere where you all, by the way, with one of these handy devices, has the power of storytelling in your pocket at all times, anytime. Anita, how have you been telling your story? So introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay, hi, Anita Grace. Grace Multicultural Marketing Firm, also board member of Minneapolis Latino Chamber.
Woohoo!
So I was telling Lili, when I started my business in 2010, I would talk to the big corporations, General Mills or Target or Best Buy, and they would say, that's great, Anita, send it in a PowerPoint and send me an email. And I thought, you get like 500 emails a day from someone like me. I'm not going to send it in an email, so I would make a little video. And I would say, hey, my name's Anita. I just got off the phone with you. Just wanted to say hi. You asked me to send you something. Well, I thought I wanted to learn from somebody else who was already doing it, and the only person I could find was Lili, and that was in 2010 on her YouTube videos, and that's what got me. Well, at the time, I had just become independent, but now I'm working with all those accounts that were telling me just send me an email that I knew they weren't going to open. So, but watching her videos helped me launch my own branding for my own business. So, yeah, thank you. It's nice to meet you finally. Yeah.
Thank you, Anita. I'll take that. We did not plan that. We just had this conversation right before starting, and I get so excited and humbled because this is meant to be democratized, guys. Everybody has a phone. If you feel intimidated in front of it, then ask your niece to do it, somebody. I bet there's like a spunky intern in your company that'll be more than happy to do it. But there's so many stories to be told. Many, many stories. And now COVID has shaking up what our story is. As business owners, as a community, as people, as sons and daughters, friends. I've lost friends. I'm sure everybody here has lost somebody, either 1 degree or directly someone we love. Things have changed. And Lori said how chambers are critical. When COVID hit, and at the time I was in New York City, right? Our main headquarters were right across from the Empire State Building. Imagine the impact, right? These 400 plus days that we've had changed everything because we know there's impact on health, there's impact on jobs, the contracts we thought we were having probably froze and stopped, right? Those of you that have businesses, brick and mortar businesses, probably had to close. You had to figure out how to do remote learning. By the way, teachers should get paid $1 million. It's just like crazy. So much we had to figure out. And of course, there's a lot of social unrest and the rallying cry for equity, and a lot of people becoming quite acceptic about it, like, do they really care? Now, this new era calls for a new level of accountability, and in my humble opinion, it's a new platform for genuine storytelling. Because all of a sudden, we have so many articles calling out maybe what used to be seen as the nice thing to do, but now it's like, okay, show me your receipts and how genuine are you? Has coronavirus made us more ethical? Probably. COVID has rewritten the rules of corporate governance. I sit on a board and we talk more about this than ever before. It's fascinating. There's a brand new purpose for all of us. We either seize this moment or let it pass by. When everything, it's like the constellations have aligned. And it's unfortunate something like COVID takes us to shake up and do something about it, right? But the beautiful thing about it is that yes, corporations are being held accountable, but we should be accountable too. We can continue to look to the outside and hope for somebody to fix the inclusion issues or the equity things, or start by making a difference with purpose within the circles that we know we can influence today. Remember, you may have a cultural advantage and the cultural economics at play that maybe others don't. But how are we telling that story? Let me tell you mine. By April, actually no, fast forward, it was more like June, July, we had lost 65% of our revenues. We didn't get the PPP the first round, and I called some of my friends in chamber worlds to complain because it was very tough. We reduced our salaries. All the executive team pretty much stopped paying themselves, had furloughs. We begged to get out of the lease, and I did. It was like a 2-month battle, and we got out of our lease in front of the Empire State Building. And the contracts were just frozen. How many of you have similar stories, right? Who lost way too much business? I did. Who had to let people go? And it's painful. But are we going to let that be the story, or what are we going to do in a moment of crisis? Here's what happened to us. Just to keep the team entertained with purpose, we took our data analytics side and started producing data that nobody was paying us for. Just put it up. The COVID impact meter with big data, monitoring how people were feeling in their economic, mental health, and all kinds of dimensions of life. And because we did it out of a good place, honestly, to give purpose to the team, as of right now, even the White House and the CDC is using our data. The World Economic Forum posted it. And was it because we were trying to pitch business? It was because purpose kicked in for us to be able to give something to society at a time that was very hard. And honestly, and my team was here, they'll be shocked, we didn't really have much else to do when all the frozen contracts were just gone. Now at the same time, a friend of mine calls me and says, hey Lili, we need to raise funds for the farm workers. Everybody's talking about the healthcare workers. Don't get me wrong, my brother is a doctor. They're amazing and they're superheroes too. But I'm like, how about the farm workers? So we created the biggest live stream event with every major celebrity you can think of. You can see some of the names there. J Balvin, Kate del Castillo, Rosario Dawson. We had J-Lo, Mark Anthony, Sophia, everybody joined in. And in one day, we raised $3 million for farm workers, all as a pro bono effort, because we didn't have anything else to do. But when you put your heart and your talents where there's an opportunity to make a difference, magic can happen. Oh my goodness, I didn't think I was going to get emotional. But when I look at the first half of this year, we're up 300% in revenues. And people ask me, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know. We made the right choices. We put our people first. and try to redirect the talents that we have to help somebody, because otherwise people would have been bored just getting depressed at home. Yes, we got the PPP eventually. Whew. And then eventually the second one, yay, and it helped a lot. Now, I'm wondering, how did you or your business, because we all did it, and it doesn't have to be your business. I bet many of you probably send clothes somewhere or help somewhere, but I do want to know how you activated the power of purpose during the very difficult, crazy year of 2020. So here, could you go into the Mentimeter again for me, please? I want to see some of your stories. Let me see if this is going to work here. All right, so that we can hear how you did to activate that power of purpose. Same code, I told you not to get out of it, because this could be rewriting your story, if we choose to. Or maybe activating a whole new dimension of you, your teams, and your business that we hadn't thought about that was there to make a difference. To actually do something that transcends selling stuff, but getting to the heart of the matter and the issues. Oh, how did you or your business activate the power of purpose in 2020? Focus on service and value, focus on family and relationships, keep employees safe, the needs of our clients, collaborations, donate graphics to first responders, praying for others. Empathy and prayer is quite inexpensive if you think about it. Get information to our employees, build a story of strength, people, and purpose. Guys, this is so powerful. Like, how do we bottle it and not forget? We are supposedly open, sort of, still wearing our masks and having all kinds of scary surprises with this virus that keeps growing legs and arms. But this, I changed my business model. Who said that? Ahaha. Señorita, what's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Imelda Harley.
How did you change your business model?
Well, before COVID-19, I was only selling tamales to big events that at least had 100 people. And when COVID-19 hit, I'm just selling by the dozen. And then also donating a dozen to first people online, like doctors, paramedics. So you were getting a dozen for free, actually, and then it was a huge success.
Wow, are you still doing that?
I went back to the other ones as economy is picking up, but I'm changing my business permanence, yes.
Oh my goodness, this is why, give her a hand, remind me, Imelda. I remember Imelda from 2017, right? The best tamales ever. She is an inspiration. Please take a moment to know Imelda. Those are the heroes that inspire me to do what I do. And Imelda, what you just did was be quick enough. You were probably struggling quite a bit because the big orders were gone. But you flipped them into a buy one, get one, or give one, and you embedded now that into your business. So there you go. If Imelda did it, we can all do it. What are we doing to keep this story of purpose and resilience that we learned in 2020 going? Let's go back to the presentation. Thank you so much. And everyone, can we order anywhere now, your tamales? So please, Imelda, what's your website? ImeldaHappyTamales.com. Write it down. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Navidades around the corner. ImeldaHappyTamales.com. Yes, ma'am.
I do want to highlight that my chamber play a huge role because they also provided us small businesses with funds to keep alive. So I think that is important to highlight it also. So I just want to say that, and I want to say thank you to the Arizona Spanish Chamber of Commerce. I'm so proud to be a member.
Imelda, you know what? Which chamber is yours?
Finis.
Arizona?
Yes, Arizona.
There you go. If you did not reshape your purpose in 2020, you don't have a pulse. And shame on us if we don't keep it going. Because if there was ever a time to demonstrate resilience and the power of purpose was 2020. And CEOs everywhere are saying it. Quite honestly, some of the analysis we've been doing is calling out for some stats that are interesting because it's almost too good to be true. And there's a lot of skepticism with all the statements and the letters and commitments to this and that. But you know what? You can either judge it or do something that starts with your own employees and circle of influence today. Because everywhere, everyone is saying that the pandemic hasn't paused their focus on purpose, it has accelerated it. And there's even evidence that shows, clicker. Doo-doo-doo. Are we good again? There's plenty of evidence that is showing us also how employees trust their employer when they're focused on purpose. 77% of consumers are motivated to purchase from companies that are committed to doing something better for the world. And that applies to everyone, big and small. Because we think this is a corporate social responsibility agenda. It's everybody's agenda if we want to create a sustainable society and wealth and opportunity for our communities. Many have done it. I know Nationwide, for example, has been doing all these empowerment charlas. There's programs, for example, that PepsiCo has launched in helping the bodega owners who have struggled, right, to come back to business. They're doing it with restaurants as well. We even saw, beer turn into hand sanitizer, which is great. And Google, guess what? They took their own employees and turned them into trainers to try to help small businesses. Shameless plug too for Google. A lot of the resources are free. Google coaches, and you'll find them. And if you want them in Espanol, they also speak Spanish. And a lot of people started doing this because it's just good for business. Now, I say some of this in my TED Talk. It's like, why is it that we separate the power of purpose and profits? You shouldn't feel guilty or weird about that. Because if there was ever a time that even the Wall Street analysts are putting pressure on companies, is now for those elements to coexist. Serving the interest of stakeholders, employees, communities, and the broader public is not necessarily at odds with the imperative of profit. Imelda is selling a dozen and giving a dozen. You're not just giving away a dozen, she's selling a dozen. And I bet, because she's a smart businesswoman advised by the smart, pretty ladies over here from Arizona, you're still making a margin. Ha, ha, ha. There you go. Purposeful profits. Maybe the margin went from this to this, but you are remembered now as happy tamales that are delivering happiness to somebody, and not just as one more lady that sells tamales. And that's very different. Purpose drives business. There's evidence now that those that are in purpose, or many of them are now called B corporations, benefit corporations, were 63% more likely to survive than others. There's just something bigger than playing for ourselves and profit. But you need profit to deliver purpose. And it's a lot of fun to be purposeful and make some money too. Don't separate the two. So the challenge I want to give you all is to rethink what is your plan for delivering purposeful profits. Now that you know that the story is more powerful because it gets to the heart, so what was that story that activated you to do what you do anyway? And then how does that play out after COVID? When we all kind of had to adjust a lot of things and maybe reshuffle priorities, change business models, etc., so that you can keep this going and not let it be just a one-hit wonder of 2020. Purpose begins with you. It's not a project, is not the assignment you give to the intern, it's a mindset. And when you look at the most successful companies out there, they have this embedded into their culture. It's what you see and hear about Patagonia, you know, Tom's Shoes, Southwest Airlines, who clearly are who they are, anchored on purpose. What business are you in then? Because your business should be anchored on purpose. When we just heard Imelda talk, she didn't just go into the tamales. They're not just any tamal. They're happy tamales. Now, would I dare to say, and I'm gonna edit here live on the fly, so if Harley Davidson is not in motorcycle business, but in the freedom business, Dove is in the self-esteem business, Airbnb is not selling rooms and houses, they're in the belonging business. We at our company say that we are in the awakening business. Imelda is in the happiness business, not selling tamales. I just heard it, I felt it. Right? Delivering happiness. It's amazing. Now, what business are you in? And I'm literally gonna give you 60 seconds or maybe 2 minutes to tell the person next to you, so look to the left, and if you don't have anyone, then make a trio. And tell the person next to you what business you're in. What business are you in? Say hello. You're in the storytelling business. There you go. People forget. I'm here to cheer you guys on, anything you need. And for that guy, lo que sea. He's like my brother. Hola, corazón. What business are you in? What business are you in? I'm gonna put you on the spot ahorita. Piénsalo y dítelo. Can't be boring. It can be boring. It's bigger than that. All right. I love all the rumble. Do-do-do. Was anyone shocked by the business that the person next to you is in? Was anyone surprised by the type of answer or business answer that you got from your next door neighbor? If not, then I'm gonna pick on somebody. All right, gentlemen, because we've heard from two ladies. Danny Vargas over here, because I know him, I can pick on him. Yeah. Danny. By the way, Danny, if you don't know Danny, you must. I consider him a great friend and someone I admire, and someone that has served our country for many, many years. Thank you, sir. Proud Latino veteran. But what business are you in now, Danny?
So before I say anything else, I think if you don't know Lili's incredible accomplishments, you must. She's been a leader in so many different ways, and to have her with us today is such a joy and an honor. So thank you, Lili, for joining us today.
Gracias, Danny.
So I own a marketing and public relations firm.
That's boring.
And we do strategic communications. We do all that stuff, but that's not the business I'm in.
There you go. Good.
I'm in the business of finding mojos.
Ooh.
A customer will come to us and say, we've got to figure out how to communicate better with our audience. We're not clicking. Let's find your mojo. Let's find what makes you tick. Let's find that inner purpose, joy, love, feeling, emotion, pull it out of you. Let's find that mojo and make it happen. That's what we
I love
do.
that. So Now we know Danny Vargas from Varcom Communications is in the mojo business. Anyone else? I'm going to pick on another gentleman. Amigo right here. Ay, I should carry the mic, se me olvida. All right, here we go. Pass the mic. What? Okay, see. ¿Cómo te llamas? Eric. What business are you in, Eric?
So we're in the business of helping other businesses do their business.
Oh, I like that.
And our company provides businesses like yours, like for example, right now with COVID, many of you did not have access to hand sanitizer, and you look for companies that could provide it to you so that you could reopen your business. You were looking for one-stop shop for masks, for gloves, for all that, and that's what we do. And we're Cintas, the uniform people, but we're in the business of making sure that you have the tools to do your business.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love the punchline, because if you would have started saying that you're Cintas, it's like you cannot make your own story in your head. Like, okay, that could be interesting, but sure. But it's the business of keeping your business in business. That's pretty cool. I'm going to pick on our sponsors. Lori, did you know I was going to do this, or should I pick on the boss? Since I was already kind of making fun of insurance. And please introduce yourself, and thank you for supporting us. What business are you in, sir?
Hey, good morning or afternoon. I can't remember what time it is. Brad Barnett, work at Nationwide. Lori on our team here has been running things today, but I would say Nationwide simplistically protects futures. Like, that's the business that we're in, is protecting futures, whether that's what you drive or where you live, your 401k, we protect your future. That's what we're in.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I'm going to leave the last one for an overachiever that will raise their hand. Someone? Did someone just have a revelation in what you do? Oh, two. We'll do these two. Teresa.
Teresa, ¿cómo estás, Lili?
Muy bien.
So my name is Teresa Lawrence. My company is Delta Personnel, and I'm in the business of solving labor pains.
Ah, you're in the, did you hear that? Oh, say it again, because I don't want to just.
My name is Teresa Lawrence. My company is Delta Personnel, and I am in the business of solving labor pains.
I love it. That's so clever. Did you get a visual? Okay, sorry. I love it. Solving labor pains. What's your name?
So I'm Patricia.
Patricia, párate.
Patricia.
Go up.
Okay, and you are an inspiration, let me tell you.
Ay, qué linda, gracias.
But, so I'm in the business of saving lives.
Ooh, tell us more. Now, see, you got me now. I'm like, what?
Well, the sugar is the biggest killer in the planet. More than the Holocaust, more than anything else. So I sell healthy, sugar-free candy.
Ah, did you see that? Let's give her a hand. Wow. You see how that is so much more interesting? Now, she still told us what she does, but the why was the first thing. Back to the golden circle or the heart, mind, wallet. You got to the heart of the matter, the heart of the issue. And now we all know, which is scary, that sugar kills more people than you referenced the Holocaust and maybe wars. So she's in the business of sugar-free candy. That is so, I mean, you're taking the prize for the biggest surprise. That was pretty cool. I don't have a prize, but we can give her a hand, right? The price of love. All right, so there you go. There's so many stories, but I wonder, as I have a big filmmaker here in front of me, have you taken the time to capture your story? Like I said, everyone with a phone has the capacity to do it. I bet you the chambers can connect you to maybe a local production company or a video team to help produce and tell your story. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but when you tell it and share it, you'll be remembered as the Happy Tamales. You'll be remembered as the Mojo Company. You'll be remembered as the business that keeps others in business, protecting futures and saving lives. Very different. Don't ask me to recite what each of these businesses do, because it's going to sound very uninspiring and boring. look how beautiful a story looks like. And I'm gonna show you a video from Manolo. I don't know Manolo, but Manolo actually did the Stanford Latino Entrepreneurship Program with my business partner, Enrique. And when he came back telling me about Manolo, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to Google Manolo, he's amazing. And I know there's a couple of graduates from that program here, right? Danny went to the Stanford program. There's a few. If you wanna learn more about it, ask the hands that are up. But it's the Latino Entrepreneurship Program that Stanford Business School does in collaboration with LBAN. And this was actually a video that Manolo did right around when they were graduating from the program. So let's make sure we have the volume up, because I bet there's many Manolos in this room. All right, let's roll the video.
This story begins in the mountains. That's where your highest aspirations are within your grasp. I had tried many things to be successful, and even though some of them didn't work, they led me here. That's because no matter how many times I was knocked down, I got up again and again. And for some crazy reason, believe I could do what many say was not possible. My name is Manuel Betancourt. For many people, I am Manolo. I'm the owner of Las Delicias Bakery. I'm Colombian and brown and Latino. My life is surrounded by pan dulce, tres leches cake, and hot tamales. Little by little, my daily life has changed in ways I never expected. Bread began to become the engine of my dreams. Better said, our dreams. I think I have learned to dream for many. I have learned that it's my destiny to help others succeed as well. I like to see people make their dreams come true. I like to believe in people. I enjoy seeing happy faces. I believe that behind each cake there is happiness. There is always a reason to celebrate and be celebrated. Baked into every piece of bread is a story that unites us, a culture that was carried inside. I was able to find my bakery's purpose. What I couldn't find in 20 years, I was able to find in 8 weeks. Changing my mindset and thinking about what is sacred in my business is how I was able to see which tree starts to follow in my sailboat. Our bread, our people, and our future. Thank you, Stanford and LBAN, for believing in me.
When you go to Manolo's website, this is the first image that welcomes you. Baking happiness, love, kindness, from our hands to your heart. He hasn't heard me do my marketing macarena. He's getting to the heart right away. But here's what's interesting. Manolo, like many of us, who got hit with closing businesses, letting people go, losing sales, all that struggle. He actually, in the middle of COVID, probably kind of like what we had to do to keep his people engaged in the purpose of what they do, baking happiness, from our hands to your heart, started the cake project. When he was probably losing sales, started giving away the cakes for kids and families that couldn't afford having a cake in 2020 for their kids' birthdays. Purpose. This impacts the whole community, COVID. If I close my business, I won't just lose my employees. My employees also lose their ability to take care of their families. So let's keep them busy, even if it means baking cakes to give it to kids that cannot afford them, for a nice, fun party. Being clear on the happiness business. Very, very inspiring. So once again, what business are you in? Getting to the heart, mind, and wallet. But even if you know that you're in the mojo business and in the saving lives business or the protecting futures business, applies to all sizes. Are you taking the time to make that your leading pitch? Or what do I see when I get to your website today? Because if you are just selling tamales and candy and insurance, we will forget about you in 5 minutes. This is why this is so powerful, and you all have homework after today. Because just as you took time to share with your neighbor about the business that you're in, now I'm daring you to capture it and do something with that new revelation. Okay? Here's 3 steps to maybe get started. Go deep, deep, deep and think about how do you make your customers feel. That gets to the heart. Feel. Manolo is selling happiness, baking happiness. Actually, Imelda is also selling happiness. Danny is selling that revealed mojo, that discovered mojo. Cintas is selling, in many ways, the peace of mind of knowing I have what I need to keep running my business, to do business. That's different from how we typically talk about ourselves. Then when you do that, the big question is, okay, so what is it that people gain when they receive your products and services? We heard it here. Who knew that a good positioning or a great positioning for sugar-free candy is that you're selling or enabling people to live a healthier life, to maybe combat the childhood obesity crisis that we have in this country, which, by the way, disproportionately affects Black and Hispanic kids. That is what you can deliver. What do people gain? They gain well-being, healthy living, the option to indulge without sacrificing on their good health. And then at the end is when you actually sell the candy. But in that 3-step approach, the way your website looks, the way your pitch deck looks, the way you talk to those supplier diversity executives here will be memorable. Otherwise, Anita, Danny, and I will, the 3 of us, sound like a boring marketing company. But it's very different when you add that twist. You're in the mojo business. Anita's probably unlocking new growth with our markets. I'm in the cultural intelligence business. We're all in the same constellation, but it's different stories. And by the way, the pie is big enough for all of us to have enough business, which is really cool. So take a moment, and maybe it's once again with your partner, because you probably just went into the first part. You went into the what business you're in, which probably is anchored into what you make people feel. But how would you tell that story? Okay, I'm gonna pick on candy again here for a second. I'm in the saving lives business. Really, what do you do? Well, I'm able to deliver people sugar-free candy so that they can stay healthy and still enjoy the sweetness of life. What do you sell? Okay, we know, candy. But then you kind of build that story in a way that takes you from the heart to the mind to the wallet. This gets hard, by the way. This is the kind of stuff you do in like 3 months of strategic planning and all this stuff. But give it a try. I'll give you 2 minutes, like we did before with our little rumbles with your neighbor. And try to explain. Pretend this person is a prospect client. How would you tell them then what you do or have to offer? All right? So let's play it out. And we're almost landing this plane. Don't get impatient. We're almost there. Practice makes perfect. Share it with your neighbor. I'll give you 1 minute. All right, those that are walking out, you're missing on the grand finale. We're almost there. Hola. Hi, how are you? So good to see you. 30 more seconds, and we're gonna land this plane. All right, I'm gonna rush us through the end, so maybe we can open for questions. Keep practicing it, by the way. This is a great thing to do with your core leadership team or management team or your employees, your colleagues, so that you can be aligned in what is it that you tell the world that you're in business for. Okay. I love that I can't let, they keep talking. I love it. All right, I need like a little campanita. Ding, 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 ding. It's like a good Latino party, everybody talks over each other. All right, so we're gonna land this plane. We're gonna finish with this image. Hopefully you can really take, photographic memory right here. If you have an amazing story and 2020 shook you up and made you create new businesses and purpose and grow or not or shift, whatever. If all of these great things have happened in your backstory, maybe with your parents or where you come from, your career, but you're not sharing it with anybody, it's like putting up a billboard in the middle of the desert with no road around it. Guys, there's too much to lose. I bet everyone here has a backstory that is outstanding. Even if you feel you're not in the business or job that is your purpose-driven dream job, I bet there is a story into the why you got there to begin with that will elevate from just the title or the things that you do as a commodity. So here, homework, 4 steps. What business are you in? Document it proudly. Make sure everyone in your teams are singing off of the same sheet of music. I'm wondering, let me pick on my sponsors again, if we ask any nationwide employee, will they tell me they're in the business of protecting futures? Yes. She said yes. Good answer, good answer. You gotta share it, and it starts by sharing it from within. Your own people, your own colleagues, your own coworkers need to believe this thing. Otherwise, it's just sitting in your head. And the whole purpose of leadership, for those of us that lead our businesses and our staffs, is to inspire others to see their own purpose in the purpose that you enable in them, in the job or company that you run and that they're part of. How can they also live out this purpose? Make it real from within. Share it in and share it out. Like Manolo has this video on YouTube. Maybe it's not a video, you can write it as a manifesto if you're camera shy. It's okay. So that when I get to your website, I can see baking happiness, not Las Delicias Bakery. That's boring, but delicious. And then last but not least, keep it alive. So if you're saying you're in that business, you must measure it, monitor it, report it, celebrate it, compensate it. If your teams are living out their purpose, if you have an amazing marketer in your team, Danny, that gets that mojo out of a key client, that is worth celebrating because you're living up to your purpose. Otherwise, it becomes just theoretical, fluffy stuff. That's where the rubber meets the road. And I bet you, because the evidence shows it, when you do that, you will be able to turn purpose, and in our case, culture, and our unique advantage into impact and profits. And if we are not delivering impact and profits in whatever it is that we're doing, you need to think again about your business plan and model. It should have both. And I know many are still trying to recover from the craziness of 2020. Even in that process of reinventing yourself, probably purpose will be the only thing that will keep you going when the P&L or the cash flow may not be there yet. Yet. It will be. And ask for help. Chambers are here. Corporate partners. Purposeful profits. This is our last mentee, and this is a pledge. This room is going to declare publicly here. Let's go to the screen of the responses here. Tell me what you will do differently in the next 30 days. You can do at least one thing. And somebody already said start a new business. Why not? That's right. Share this information. By the way, and maybe Lori or the folks from USHCC can help me, I want to PDF this presentation and somehow get it out. How do we do that? Okay, we'll figure it out. Lori said she'll figure it out. Tell my story, share this information, start a new project, listen. That's powerful. Sometimes your teams or your business partner may have a very clear perspective on purpose that you may not, so listening is always a good strategy. Share this information, cultivate relationships, inspire others, mentor, tell my story. Yay, that was the whole purpose of today. Tell your story. We'll let them build, redefine purpose, brand myself. Yes. You know what? Culturally, there's something which is quite beautiful about our culture of how we're used to just kind of do the hard work, somebody will notice, keep going, keep your head down and go. There's just too much good behind that hard work to not share it with the world. If we're just keeping our head down, it's like the billboard in the middle of the desert with no road around. Okay, let's get back to the PowerPoint, and we're closing with this. 25 of you have shared an intent for the next 30 days, and I'm really proud of that and excited. Now you hold yourselves accountable to it. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Miss Kier has like the coolest name. He said, it's Pierre with a K, so I'll never forget. Purposeful profits should be the North Star. Know why you're doing what you're doing. Tell, share, and elevate how is it that you do it in a special way and why I should even care. And take action, otherwise it's just theory, and we had a nice time here, but then you came in and out the same, and I wouldn't have done my job if that's the case. So please, go out and start sharing, and if you're too shy, just start sharing with your partner, with a friend, or with your mom. That's a good place to get started. Thank you so much, and there's my contact info.